Thank you guys very much for coming to a laid back edition of Stone Soup's All Open Mic. I'm your host, Chad Parento, now finally audible after a few suspicious weeks of not being able to be heard. Always Google your how to fix your mic on, especially on Windows 10, which is the most unforgiving Windows to date. But here we go. Oh, hi, Chris. Looks like Chris is joining us on audio. Trying to have something more scenic, but the sun's shining too much light. I might have to do something on the outside, if only because I spent an entire weekend weeding the outside plants and the bushes, and God damn it, I want someone to notice the work. But at any rate, we have a little bit of a calm before the norm of features. We do have some people who have offered to feature for the last month of August, and I do have some prospects that we want to ask. And with the Delta strain, the question of whether or not we're going to have a meeting for Jack Power's birthday is highly suspect. I don't want to endanger any of the more immunocompromised people here that join our call. So that's going to be a tough call to make, and one I'll be making probably as I get closer to August. But for now, we are still meeting for the entire month of August, and we have feature Laura Kiesel, poet, journalist, activist, she's coming to see us on the 28th, and she has a new book out. Also with a new book is our feature on August 4th, that being Gloria Mindock, the founder, editor, publisher of Savannah Barbara Press. Her new book, Ash, is available and just recently won at least one book award in the time between me getting her feature and me typing it up. So we are excited to have her, and hopefully another announcement by the end of the week. So definitely don't miss out on Stone Soup. I'm hoping August and September will be feature filled, whether or not we choose to meet live or not. So without any further ado, I want to get to the open mic, and thank you all for coming. And let's see who we're going to ask first. First off, we have our orator extraordinaire, the man I call Mr. John Sturm, also known as Kilroy if he doesn't have his camera leaning the right way. Let's welcome up John.
Hi, Chad. Since Sunday was Nelson Mandela's birthday, thought it might be appropriate to recite from the last 2 pages of his book, Long Walk to Freedom. I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free, free in every way I could know. Free to run in the fields near my mother's hut, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village. Free to roast mealies under the stars and ride the broad backs of slow-moving bulls. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion, when I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself, the transitory freedoms of being able to stay out of night, read what I pleased, and go where I chose. Later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned for the basic and honorable freedoms of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying and having a family. The freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed, but the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. That is when I joined the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom of my people. It was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self-respect that animated my life, that transformed a frightened young man into a bold one, that drove a law-abiding attorney to become a criminal, that turned a family-loving husband into a man without a home, that forced a life-loving man to live like a monk. I am no more virtuous or self-sacrificing than the next man, but I found I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. Freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. It was during those long and lonely years that my hunger for the freedom of my own people became a hunger for the freedom of all men, of all people, white and black. I knew as well as I knew anything that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. When I walked out of prison, that was my mission, to liberate the oppressed and the oppressor both. Some say this has now been achieved, but I know it has not been achieved. The truth is, we are not yet free. We have merely achieved the freedom to be free, the right not to be oppressed. We have not taken the final step of our journey, but the first step on a longer and even more difficult road. For to be free is not merely to cast off our own chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. The true test of our devotion to freedom is just beginning. I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter. I have made missteps along the way, but I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can rest only for a moment. For with freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not yet ended. So wrote Nelson Mandela.
Thank you very much, John. Up next on the open mic, we have, it was going to be Jan Rowe, but the part of Jan Rowe will now be replayed by John Wesick.
Okay. Report to the commissioner. All safeguards are in place. After months, the musicians can play blindfolded. We've perfected the disappearing ink, and as an extra precaution, our nurses will inject the writers' tongues with Novocaine. Although Dr. Kruger's system of pulleys and blinders prevented painters from seeing each other's work, separate cubicles proved more practical. An illiterate fast reaction team is standing by in case anyone makes it through the barbed wire. Even if a fugitive escapes, I doubt he could cross the miles of desert. Sadly, there have been setbacks. Actors cannot respond to their cues from isolation, and the oven mitts proved unwieldy. Computer simulations remain troubling. Despite all our precautions, the chance of two minds meeting cannot be reduced to an acceptable level.
Thank you, John. And moving on. Let us welcome up and let us unmute the lovely Carol Weston, who I can't wait to hear later on. I've confirmed with Suzanne Mercury that I once again will be helping Carol Weston attend the Boston Poetry Marathon online later in August. More information on that will be coming. On a sad note, Suzanne Mercury, who has been one of the hostesses and organizers for the Boston Poetry Marathon, just confirmed that she's been diagnosed with breast cancer. I do not know if this is going to affect any of the events or her participation in it, but she says it's very treatable, very small, and hopefully she will not miss a beat the way she hasn't these last few years. And she, of course, commandeered alongside Bridget the poetry marathon from last year, and did Bridget Eileen. I mean, they both commandeered they've been doing it for a couple of years, and they commandeered the first online version. They did great success with it, and I'm sure they're going to do the same. And I'm so glad that they asked me to help include Carol again. But enough of me. Here's a person you really want to hear. Carol?
Hi. Well, the breath of death. The breath of death pounds on my chest. I who slept through all the wars am part of all that I detest. And the second one is instant. This instant is the space over the candle flame where no flame shows, and everything that enters here burns into ashes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
And now I'm going to move to the next person on our list. Yes, he's been away for a couple of excuse me, weeks due to computer issues, but he is back with us tonight. Let's welcome up CCR Chagra.
Okay, hi, thank you, everyone. A little update on the Human Room Open Voice thing. That it's a lot is happening with the reopening of the Buttonwood tree and the exodus away from Zoom back to live. Got to let you know that that's been working out okay over there. They have limited number of people and they're doing their little thing there, but they are open again live and they're doing shows and selling tickets. And so congratulations to the Buttonwood tree. And so what happened in that process, I reestablished the Human Room Open Voice to start to accept free speech submissions online. So anyone can basically do the principles of involvement, if you know about that. If not, I'll put the link in the chat. And basically you agree to 9 things. I want to be a human amongst humans, and everyone's a work of art. You record yourself and you send it in, and we're going to start compiling online open mic hybrid system that way. And there's more, and there's video, now there's videos explaining, there's actually a video called What is the Human Room Open Voice? And I'll put that link in there. I'm going to read this little one, and then I'm going to read something because I was inspired by what John read about Mandela, yet another level of freedom. This one is from the working manuscript, The Definition of Free. Imagine nothing can harm you, nothing outside of your mind. And then a choice of fear arrives, and your soul is presented an idea to build a wall or live open-minded. So in an older manuscript project that was years in the making and 50 pages deep, there's a series of poems in that book. The book is called True Love or Bust. And there's a series in here that's Do Not Take Love, number 1 through 6. It's subtitled, You Came Into Being Gifted. I'm going to just do it. They're all little. I'm going to show you number 4. And it says, the free of pains go comes for you, free to question what has no power over you, and to feel your own mind create peace within you. By you are the bear of true free. Yep. Okay, so I don't like that line. That's all right. Here goes. Hold on. Here's one. This one's called Share. Shared is the bare heart trusted, as two exposed below worth's skin, revealing marrows long for singing the song where true love's note begins, exactly where each last breath crests, all possessions fear no death, to find the share of presence still, filling our soul's lungs with our shared air, to let death's breath be now. Exhale. So that was more for Carol. Breath and death. I love open mic. I said to somebody the other day, this is for everybody. The beauty of what open mics do for us is that when you write a poem, sometimes it takes a year or more months to get away from it, to go back and look at what it is that you just created before you could see it with fresh eyes. When you go to open mics all the time, what you're doing is you're expediting that process. As you just witnessed, I saw that line, and when I wrote it, I didn't see that that line didn't work. But when you're doing it live, the experience of being witnessed and being received allows you to just take that and squish it down into the moment. And you could edit your own work a lot faster, find the most beautiful lines and bring your poem to the level of art it belongs, with perspective that you didn't have before that or alone. So thank you to all open mics for that.
Thank you, CC. I thought I was going to have Chris Fitzgerald join us, but he seems to have vacated and he hasn't come back. I'm hoping we get some more people for round two, but for now, we're going to go with our closer for the first round. That's right. It's already time for our Oddballs columnist, whose poem column It's All One Thing goes up tomorrow without fail at 11 o'clock on Thursday morning. Let's welcome up James Vanloy.
Thank you.
Hi, James.
Thanks, guys. So I have a poem here called Me Being Bad. So this is called Me Being Bad. Sunday, trying to make coffee clutch. I cut across the wide, slow curve of the sidewalk to make it straight to the doors of the Ashmont station. Looking over my shoulder, just in case a bus swings in to park by the doors, I can see on the sign on the inside, BRD, board, and know from past experience that I can't make it anyway. I'm thinking as I hear the warning the train makes just before they close the doors to the one I need to make to be on time, it's too late. The world is already in total chaos. Looting, riots in South Africa, great floods washing away whole towns in Europe, the Northwest in drought and on fire, US and Canada, both empty reservoirs, bleached walls haven't been seen before. When the people whose policy exacerbated all of this war, 20% of the world's children on a diet that stunts growth and prevents their proper development. The world still in a pandemic that has shut down the global economy as a new surge underlines the way in which capitalists have imposed commercial special interest over the public health. And we've had fully a half century of this horrendous, stupid shit. And over we go, one cliff right after the other. Wars, oil spills, regime change, judges making law up out of wingnut fantastic theory of what will get the base stirred up, the absolute perversion of justice, racist, fascist, political hacks, there they are, nincompoops on parade in their black robes soaked in bullshit, so they can't even know how ignorant they really are. Constitutional originalism of white supremacy and foolishness. What judge does not understand that sedition and insurrection is not a threat to any system of law, much less order? And I see the train pull away down tunnel, and I get on next train when it pulls up, and Jan comes along, furious at me because she's carrying 2 heavy bags. I asked her if she needed help before I left, and she said she did not, but I should have known I was in violation of the old Rouser code, all hands on deck to help the grocery chores of everyday life, another crisis. And let me sing a little song for you in Dutch. Apa mooi Pinkstertag, als je even kan. Ik met mijn dokter aan de handje in de parachute, de koieren in de sun. Gingen Maralies, Poeken, Angeles voor en eindeloos. Kijk nu takje, je nog na, je handjes vol en papa boos. Father was a mooie held, father was the boss. Father was a doodle-lick, a mengeling van lieve en Sinterklaas. Ben je bang voor Angie? Angie bijt niet, papa zei dat hij niet bijt. Op een mooie Pinksterdag met de kleine mee. Als de kinder groter wordt, Rossie in de nacht. Zul je taken alle grote jongens willen zeggen, handen tussen Lazarus. Heb je dat nu, meneer? Jawel, meneer, precies als iedereen. Op een mooie Pinksterdag laat ze je alleen. Morgen kan ze zwanger zijn, kan ook nog vandaag, kan ook een hanker zijn, of een Franse zanger zijn, of iemand uit Den Haag. Vader kan gaan smekken en kan trekken tot hij purper ziet. Vader zegt, pas op mijn kind, dat handje bijt, ze lustert niet. Vader is een hypocriet. Father is no. Father is enkel en alone voor te zenden en de rest is walken wel. Ik would ik nog een time met mijn dokter aan het Angel lopen kan. Op een mooie Pinksterdag. Samen in de sun. Samen in de sun. Samen in the sun. Thank you.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that an originalist interpretation of, I forget whether it's the 13th, 14th, or 15th Amendment, would have prevented separate but equal.
Don't know if I'm ready for that,
Supreme Court has
mate.
done this repeatedly, John. They do these things. There was Plessy Ferguson that made separate but equal. Okay, they do this, and that we are on the verge of becoming just like we were with the whole country, literally under a white supremacist regime. And it's because of them. All right, it's really because of them. They made all this money legal that's in our election process. It's ruined the political process in this country for 45 years at least.
Well, Citizen United didn't help. And the elimination of the spirit of the law in exchange for the letter of the law is what really enabled a lot of these things to happen while the judicial system got folded into, basically we don't have separation of powers anymore.
We have an oligarchy.
Yeah, we do. Welcome to China. And Wall
geez.
Street's pushing everybody to China. It's unbelievable.
Okay. On that happy note, how about second round
Yeah.
robin? Yes, here we go. Yes. Cut the mute buttons on and let's go. Okay. Let's start in the beginning. Chris Fitzgerald joined us. We'll give him we'll give you a double spot in the part where I first missed you, so you can read a little longer than normal. For now, we're going to go back to Orator Extraordinaire, Mr. John Sturm.
Well, let's continue with the total politicization of the open mic with The Gambler.
Boom.
On a warm summer's evening, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with the gambler. We were both too tired to speak. So we took turns a looking out the window at the darkness till boredom overtook us and he began to speak. He said, "Son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces and knowing what their cards are by the way they held their eyes. So if you don't mind my saying, I can see you're out of aces, For a taste of your whiskey, I'll give you some advice. So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. Then the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. He said, son, if you're gonna play the game, you gotta learn to play it right. You gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Now, every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. Because every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. And the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. So when he finished speaking, he turned back towards the window, crushed out his cigarette, and faded off to sleep. And somewhere in the darkness, the gambler, he broke even. But in his final words, I found an ace that I could keep. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Now, every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. Because every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. The best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. Till then you make your living out of reading people's faces and knowing what their cards are by the way they hold their eyes. Though it's a hard way of living when you run out of aces, you can learn to win by bluffing. It's the gambler's best advice. We could go on to Langston Hughes.
Oh, that wasn't Langston Hughes? I'm only kidding.
No,
I love the reading of lyrics as poetry. That is just ingenious.
thank you.
Thank you very much, John. I think we're going to, in the absence of Jan again, Jan will be played by John Wesick. Get his crime novel, get his, look for his poem coming up in September over at allballmagazine.com. And let's welcome him up now.
Politics again. Democracy juggles hydrogen bombs, cream pies, banana peels, and asbestos tiles. Tongue between lips, hair tucked behind one ear, and sweat dripping down her forehead. The audience gasps each time fingers fumble a plutonium trigger. We'd sell more ads if she played hopscotch among bear traps, the press shouts. Add clown shoes, Senator Buford T. obstruction demands, and a few landmines. Urgent pleas for stilts, unicycles, and unicycles atop stilts fill my inbox. I wish I could turn my back on the whole shit show, but politics is like draining a septic tank. A horrible job, but it overflows if you ignore it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. And let's see who we have next. Going back to Miss Carol Weston. Whoops. Give me a sec. One second, Carol. Looks like you're not muted yet. Just give me a moment. Oh, I know what's happening. Okay, Carol, now you're unmuted.
Okay. This is Picos Pueblo, 1976. Kiva, to John Galloway, my husband, poet and professor of astronomy and cosmology. Kiva, hearth, altar, kitchen or living room of the spirit. Care is what is transported mouth to mouth, hand to hand, the tradition coming from the heart of man into the sandal and bead. Fire of hearth and altar, the secret ceremonial in our homes, where we must clear of the black widow spider. The home is sacred, the footfall ceremonial. I am a restless foot running sideways. He holds me on the broad highway. His body keeps me by warm touch of burning coal, sure that I am alive.
Would it be wrong to ask Carol to read that again louder? Encore of the same poem? Because it was quiet.
Does anyone think so?
I heard you, but I wouldn't mind you reading it again
I
at
did.
Cece's request.
I'd like to hear it again too.
Yeah, it was about, if you doubled the volume, I think we'd all hear it clearly.
Well,
Oh, Lord.
unfortunately, she has no way to do that because she's just calling on a telephone.
Well, yeah, scream the poem, Carol.
Oh, God.
Well, written Picos Pueblo, 1976. And see, that's about the same voice as I had before. Kiva, to John Galloway, my husband, poet and professor of astronomy and cosmology. Kiva, hearth, altar, kitchen of or living room of the spirit. Care is what is transported mouth to mouth, hand to hand, the tradition coming from the heart of man into the sandal and bead. Fire of hearth and altar, the secret ceremonial in our homes that we must clear of the black widow spider. The home is sacred, the footfall ceremonial. I am a restless foot running sideways. He holds me on the broad highway. His body keeps me by warm touch of burning coal. Sure, I am alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. That was beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate you honoring that request. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Let's see who we have next. We're back to CCR Chagra.
So she mentioned footfall in that poem, and this is a book I think everyone should read. Shoshana Zoloff, The Age of Surveillance Capitalism. It's brilliantly done. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And if you didn't know, Pokemon Go was an experiment out of the CIA. And it's about what it says. It's brilliantly done. This is from the same one. This is called We. Love loves to fail. The sun of night deep in the waters dark reaches the light blue of my heart. Lightening life now, lifting and breaching the water line is here between real and fiction, knowing and unknown. Free too is above and below, within the worth with you. Beyond the death of our fearful choices faced, when already within life now. Love may soon begin anew here, as we are being, as we let it be, as we all are with nothing to keep, being, in as far as we know, our will to be at work with love unharmed, never being unemployed or in need for sex slave wage creators, by the passion of all that is done about our beings, ever being fears work to expose, no questions asked or allowed, not so gracefully against every attempt opposing truths make, always trying to make a liar out of all honesty. Love sees through it. The beautiful deaths of every temporary truth was fear truly falling, fear truly failing to fall in love with love loves to fail, as do we come here to ever learn of love waits. As a matter of time disappears and shapes timelessness into patience beyond, the word time evaporating into poetry dies for you on a bed of clouds, undressing in the sky, wondering about the tears that erase the end. On the day laughter returns to kiss as eyelids do open and touch what is blind, to see every pore of being we share. We, from the unpublished manuscript from years gone by, True Love or Bust. Thank you.
Thank you.
CC,
Thank you very much, CC.
Thank you for your
That was
ears.
great. And now we go to the person who was absent last round, but he's coming back to do both rounds of the round robin because of probably because of connection issues. I'm going to ask him to unmute, and then he's got the full floor. Mr. CC, I'm sorry, no, Mr. Chris Fitzgerald. You both have C's in your name. I got mixed up. Chris Fitzgerald, can you hear me, and can you respond?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let's go, Bukowski. Give it a shot.
So you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Last year, I started a project which I called Profanity Free. I had hoped by April, May this year, in my poetry, intros, essays, whenever I put pen to paper, swear no more. Goodbye to the shits and the assholes. So long to the bastards and the fucks. But will I ever be able to part penmanship company to the only expletive I admitted a fondness for? Frig, or it's known in polite circles, friggin'. If not now, when? If not me, who the blank? I'm now admitting to putting the frig word in the mouths of certain historical personages. I now see they deserve better than that. Who the blank said life always has to be so friggin' funny? I know they didn't. The four people that I took liberties with are Abe Lincoln, John Hancock, King George III, and Alexander Graham Bell. First, Abe Lincoln, my favorite president, as open a mind as we'll ever get. Whitman loved him from the get-go. Emerson grew into a great appreciation of Lincoln's qualities. They could go toe-to-toe with either one of those guys. Like them, he taught himself to think. My favorite Lincoln line is from the Gettysburg Address. Of the people, by the people, for the people. A people breathing freely, not smothered by yesterday, open to the richness of life, not sucking up to royalty or someone to pretend to be. It's my second favorite line of Lincoln's, and I switched a bit. Lincoln said, whenever I hear someone arguing in defense of slavery, I say, let's try it on him. He said, let's try it on that friggin' dirtbag. My apologies, Mr. President. I'll try to be good from now on. The second and third president I used together. John Hancock and King George III. It's a Declaration of Independence story with John Hancock stating for all to hear, I wrote my name so big, King George wouldn't need his friggin' spectacles. Hancock didn't say that, I did. And Tracy's didn't come back with that witty retort that I gave him. Hancock, that little friggin' pisspot. He's always looking for trouble, always. Perhaps a desire for the cheap laughs. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but my most grievous fault lies with Alexander Graham Bell. I stated that Bell couldn't be held responsible for people not calling back after being given a Bell telephone number, but it grinded on him. He had gone into such debt, getting that phone up and running. He would receive letters from creditors 6 days a week. Hey, horseshit, where's my money? This is a cheerful reminder. Asshole, where's the dough? Sunday was a no-meal delivery day. Al would be happy on that day. Out in the backyard, barbecuing, drinks with the umbrellas in them. He invented the phone, got that call on a Sunday. Hello, you got my money, shithead? Who are you calling shithead, you friggin' dirtbag? My sincerest apologies. Thank you. So you heard that, Curly?
Yeah. What was the title of that again? I'll never swear again.
Something of that sort.
Thank you very much, Chris. And now we close our round robin for the night with the person who is usually our closer for the night. Let's welcome back again, Mr. James Vanloy.
Thanks, Chad. So I got one here called, this is the Holy Hole. What I choose to portray, then and now, so holy hole. The black hole implied, even demanded by the theory. No one wanted to imagine it could really be true, that is real, but lo and behold, the gravity waves have been found, and black hole collision seems very real these digital days. You'd think someone would have thought about what it means to install a global all-one-thing electronic nervous system, union suit to outdo all the unions. In fact, to undo all the unmentionable unions, everything that actually held life together. Although it had all been under attack forever, and it's hard enough to understand why showdown on the long, receding, vanishing point street of the saloon, cafe, and general store, all down home on the plantation, mistress holding bottle, and slave servant with pitcher waiting to decant water. Whatever did happen to Kansas anyway, we'll never know where we are now. So many information bubbles, so many people, and yet all one thing boinging together, billions of light years, so very far away, billions of years ago, black holes boinged away, boing, 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 big bang, black hole, big bang. While the sniper was squinting in his long telescope, the sniper is cradled in the crotch of a tree, while football practice is the ultimate headshot. And Johnny Unitas's number will never be retired. No, number 19 will be Johnny Unitas's number forever and forever and forever more. And here's another little song. Sometimes I wonder why I spend a lonely night dreaming of a song, the melody haunts my reverie, and I am once again with you when our love was new, and each kiss and inspiration, but that was long ago. Now my consolation is in the stardust of a song beside the garden wall when stars are bright. You are in my arms The nightingale tells her fairy tale of paradise where roses grew. Though I dream in vain, in my heart it will remain, my stardust melody, the memory of love's refrain. Thanks, guys.
Lionel Hampton and the All-Stars, an entire side of the album. One of the most beautiful pieces of music I ever heard is Lionel Hampton and the All-Stars doing Stardust. It's if you ever get a chance to find that, it's a whole A side of an album. It's the most beautiful rendition of Stardust. You'll cry. It's beautiful. Gotta check that out, James. You'll love it. That was good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, James, and thanks to everyone who is participating, who participated tonight. I implore you to come next week for Laura Kiesel's feature, as we're going to keep on doing more and more features as we get to the end of the summer, and hopefully herald a new chapter of Stone Soup, and hopefully come closer to an idea of both live and online performances moving forward. Again, that depends on civilization and how safe it is for everybody. And I hope things do get safer. I hope you guys are staying safe and taking care of other people out there. And I hope above all, you guys are still creating, still keeping your mind strong, still keeping yourself as occupied creatively as you can. These aren't easy weeks, but we can get through them. And say a prayer for the people who are not getting through them quite as well. I keep on seeing pictures of the disasters all around the globe, and it's kind of insane. So I just got to be thankful for my dry piece of land and be hopeful that everyone else can pull through. That's all I got now before my computer suddenly shuts down, as I think it's going to. But by all means, come next week for Laura Kiesel, and come back again for Gloria Mindock, and more people to be announced, and more people are volunteering. And check out the Human Room Open Voice. Check out the YouTube link via CC in the comment section now. And I will take this. I'll share the link tomorrow with people after I post the photo and the video and the final video for Stone Soup.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And remember, you could now send a video of your open mic contribution, but it's involved. There's a system here. It's an open mic hybrid. So
Gotcha.
that link will include a video. What is the Human Room Open Voice? Good place to start. And thank you.
Oh, thank you. God, I'm stumbling over my words now that everyone can finally hear me. Of course, that's so fitting. So I'm going to ask everyone who's on video to do the wave, and we are going to see you guys next week. Thanks to everyone to join. Spread word for Stone Soup. We're still going on, and the features are coming back. And take care of yourselves. That's all I got for you today. The show's over. See you next time. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks all.
Thank you, Chad.
Yeah.
Thanks, CC and James and John and Carol and everyone else.
See you soon.
Good to see everybody. Thank you.
Welcome back, James.